Okay, Diana, you do amazing work in One Tree Planted. Could you start off by telling our listeners a bit about who One Tree Planted are and your history, please?
Absolutely. One Tree Planted is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that plants trees all around the world. We try to make it as simple as possible. So we have a pretty easy model in terms of donations. Every $1 donated to our nonprofit will plant one tree, and people have the option to choose where their tree is planted. So we've been around since about 2014 is when we got started, and we've grown really quickly. I've been with the team since almost the beginning. Certainly when we started to grow, we were just a couple of people, and now we're a team of 30, and we've planted millions of trees all around the world. And every reforestation project is a little bit different. There's a little bit of a different impact that's made because trees contribute so much to our terrestrial ecology, to our healthy ecosystems. So some projects might focus on climate, something like carbon sequestration, or it might be water, or there might be a biodiversity component. So we really try to bring it all together and make it easy for people to take action for nature.
Okay, and how involved are you with the World Economic Forum 1 Trillion Trees campaign?
Yeah, so this campaign was launched at last year's World Economic Forum. We are in touch with the organizers. The 1T sort of initiative, 1T for 1 trillion trees, really tries to bring a variety of different stakeholders together to mobilize funding, to scale reforestation in a bigger way. So we really are kind of one of the organizations that are part of the broader initiative, so that we're contributing to trees planted, but there's also other organizations, other people involved.
Is the 1 Trillion Trees campaign the biggest reforestation campaign in the world today, is it?
It's the biggest one that I know of. I mean, and just for scale, because I feel like these numbers just get bigger and bigger, but the planet has approximately 3 trillion trees, so you really can't go too much bigger than that. And really this is an initiative that would take many years and a lot of planning to accomplish. But yeah, it's the biggest one that I know of.
And what's the time frame to achieve to meet 1 trillion trees, do you know?
I think it's about 10 years, and actually 2021 is the beginning of the UN Decade of Restoration. So I believe that this initiative is in alignment with that. We'll see if we can accomplish all of that, but it's certainly a lofty goal to strive for. And I think when you have a clear goal like that and a clear organizing body that can bring different people together, we're much more likely to accomplish things, to share information, to share resources. I believe it's 10 years.
Okay, are there any other partnerships you have in 1 Tree Planted that you would like to tell our listeners about?
Sure. Well, One Tree Planted works with a whole lot of partners in a variety of different ways. I think one of our biggest long-standing partnerships is with an organization called the World Resources Institute. They're awesome. They're a research organization. They have satellites in the sky that are monitoring forest change. They provide a lot of data, and they also provide a lot of support. So we're a smaller organization compared to them, but they have staff all over the world, very knowledgeable people that are doing great work on the ground, connecting with partners. And so sometimes there might be a project that they're vetting, but that we end up kind of funding and managing along with other local partners on the ground. But overall, this World Resources Partnership has been amazing. We also work with the Forest Service. We also work with countless smaller, hyper-local organizations such as watersheds, community development organizations, and many others. I mean, that's really the essence of how we work, is through these vast networks of partnerships. And depending on the location and what is the ecological need in that region, we work that out with those partners and kind of come up with a plan to make sure that the project is done right.
Are you planting any trees in Europe?
Yes, we are actually. It's been a bit of a tough road to get Europe up and running because the costs tend to be higher. But we're actually about to be making some announcements. We're going to be planting in Spain. We have a UK project. Definitely an area that we are trying to have an impact in the near future.
In Ireland, where I'm from, there are plans by the government for a lot more trees to be grown in the country, but most of the trees that are going to be planted are for commercial purposes, you know, so they're not very good for biodiversity purposes, I think, which is unfortunate. I was looking at your Twitter page. You are supporters of the UN Global Goals or SDGs, are you?
Yes, yes, they are.
Okay. Okay, just on the one side we have a lot of deforestation in the world today, like in the Amazon, and on the other side we have this 1 trillion trees campaign. Can you tell me if we should, in your opinion, be hopeful that in years to come there will overall be a lot more trees in the world, bearing in mind that there is deforestation happening today also?
Yeah. Well, this is a major challenge. I definitely would not want to underplay how difficult it is because there are so many issues at play. And certainly things like governmental policies play a big role in terms of what is regulated and what isn't. The other thing that needs to be considered is the needs of local people because sometimes deforestation is caused not by major industries, but by regular people that are using the forest for fuel, for food, for survival, essentially. And so there are these socioeconomic issues that would need to be addressed in order to reduce deforestation and to increase restoration. But I'm definitely hopeful because I see a lot of signs of people really waking up to, the climate urgencies that we have, climate change, pollution, all of these things. There's a lot of now investment and innovation going into things like if we're going to be doing infrastructure projects in cities, how can they be more sustainable? There's research that shows that when there are trees and greenery in cities, there are all of these other positive impacts for the health and well-being of communities, as well as reducing energy costs, for example, because trees help to cool the air. They reduce the need for air conditioning in the summer, for example, and all of these other benefits. So I think that there are a lot of really smart, capable people that are now really focusing on addressing this problem with the understanding that we need to save our forest, we need to reverse deforestation, we really need a focus on restoration to address the damage that has already been done at the same time as we're addressing the sort of root causes of the damage in all of the multifaceted ways. So I think that that's something that we have to look forward to, and it's definitely going to take a lot of work. It's not going to be an easy road, and so everybody can play a role in participating in this transition.
Okay, Diana, to come towards the end of the interview, is there anything else you'd like to let our listeners know about before we finish up?
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody is interested in learning more about One Tree Planted, just come visit us at onetreeplanted.org, and we are at One Tree Planted across all of our social media channels. Come check us out, ask any questions. We're happy to be part of this global community focusing on restoring the environment.